What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? Podcast about life in the music industry. I'm your host, Patrick Ternowski. With me, back in the saddle, Super Gibby himself. And,
Yo.
to- and today, super pumped for this, we welcome Mark Rose from one of my favorite Chicago bands, Spitalfield, to the show. Mark, hey, welcome.
Hey Patrick, hey Gibby, how are y'all doing?
Doing good. It's a little snowy here today. Came out
Mhm.
of nowhere.
We had a we had a dusting the other day. You know, my youth tells me that this time of November there should be some snow, so it's
Hmm.
actually kind of nice to get some, even though I don't particularly like it. But it made me feel human again and real. I was a little worried when we had a bunch of years in a row where like we got all the way through December with like no snow.
Oh,
So
it was magical. It was so
yeah.
wonderful. We it happened here in Duluth as well, and yeah, I loved it. It was my favorite because I am the shoveler or the snow blower. That is my duty. So the fact that I had less of that to do was awesome. Since normally, Duluth, Minnesota, we get slammed. We just get destroyed by snow usually. So.
Would you be shocked to learn that I know a lot about Duluth, Minnesota?
I wouldn't be that shocked. What are some of your Duluth facts?
It's not that I want to hit you with facts because you have the facts. It's more so that my wife's family is from Duluth. So I've
Okay.
I've been up there a number of times for various things. So, I'm familiar with the area, some cool restaurants and breweries, and the
Yeah.
bridge is pretty cool. And of course, just like the scenery is very special. So I like folks
Total.
from Duluth. Y'all are good people.
Hey, we try. We try. Um it's funny because I didn't actually write have this prepped, but um one of the way I actually learned about Spitalfield was from my best friend Sam Dean, who was in a band called Foreknown. It was a metalcore band, and y'all had played with them. I think a few shows, like back way back in the day, and he brought like your album, remember right now, home, and it was like, dude, this is right up your alley, and from there,
Wow.
it's history.
Thank you, Metalcore Sam. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's funny, it's all full circle, full circle.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, Gibby, I like your saddle. I mean, you have a nice chair. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you.
makes me
Thank
feel like
you.
what I'm sitting in sucks.
I my partner got me this for Christmas because before this I was like sitting in like an office chair that was like kind of like halfway broken. So like if I leaned too far back, it would just douche.
yeah, that's mine. That's what mine is. Mine is the half broken computer chair that every once in a while Gibby can attest to it. Every once in a while, even doing like these shows, it'll randomly like snap. I have it locked sitting up right now, and it'll just snap and I'll fall backwards and
Well, I don't want that to happen to you, but if it does, I feel like it'll be comedy gold.
I yeah, at one point I was like taking a sip of some beverage and and I like threw the drink right at my monitor and like fried it. It was fun. It was super fun.
That's action. I hope you were taping.
We
You know,
were.
I
Very
was
good.
gonna say, yeah, we were. I remember that.
Yeah. It was a good time. But I saw we kind of talked about this for a smidgen right before we started the show. But so I saw on your Instagram, on some socials, you announced some new Spitalfield music
My
coming
gosh.
2025.
How about it?
Are are you able to let us know a little bit about what that's looking like and what fans can expect from that?
Yeah, so, based on when I believe that this video interview is available, I believe there is a brand new song that you could be listening to right now. So yeah, it's wild. I mean, you can see I'm in the studio now. I wish this was in my home. But this is the
Same.
first time that the band has been in the studio together since 2006 when we were recording Better Than Knowing Where You Are. And it feels wild. I mean, the thing is that I've done music like since the band originally called it quits, and I've been in my fair share of studios, with different projects over the years, but there's something different about it right now, and that is that I'm, making music with some of the folks I used to make music with, and it feels really good. It feels like there's an energy and excitement that we all have and that we're sharing with creating together again. And part of it stems from that we did a lot of touring this past 2 years,
Mhm.
and we didn't, well, at least I didn't want to prematurely try to start doing new things, because I wanted number one to take it all in with like the Remember Right Now anniversary tour in 2023, and I didn't want to get caught up in how much fun we were having because it's like it's easy kind of to fall into it to be like, oh man, these shows are so fun. We love hanging out together. We could do this again. We could be a band again.
Yeah,
And it's just we're all in such different places now than we were back then, different responsibilities and families and jobs and homes and all these things that I didn't want to just ride that momentum and say, we're doing it. So,
right.
I kind of told the guys I didn't really want to talk about it aside from like, having some fun and riffing on it, but like didn't really want to talk about it too seriously until we were done with that tour. And when that Remember Right Now tour ended at the end of 2023, I was feeling pretty good about wanting to make new music. And then throughout this year, we did, a bunch of other dates and some festivals and some little tours here and there. And it was just becoming solidified that we were going to do this. So that's a long-winded way of saying, yeah, there's new music. So the single is out now, as per when I believe this is airing, and we have a full EP coming at the beginning of March,
Oh boy.
which will be dropping right before we are out with Anne Berlin and Copeland. So I'm over the moon for it, guys. Like I'm kind of losing my mind that it's happening. Like hearing like
Yeah,
playback and stuff, and being like, wow, this feels real again.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people are feeling that right now, the excitement. So,
Good. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I hope y'all like it.
Honestly, I'm really excited to check it out. You touched on it just like a tad there at the end that you guys announced you got some tour dates coming up for 2025 with Amberlin and Copeland. What are some cities that you're looking forward to hitting again?
Um, well, this tour in particular is getting up to the Pacific Northwest, which has been a spot that's been very hard for us to get to on all of our anniversary stuff. Mainly because when we were an active touring band full time back in the day, like Seattle and Portland and, Boise and Salt Lake and stuff. Those were spots that we got to once in a while,
yeah,
but not regularly. And it was a challenge to try to get headlining shows to work, both like budget wise and like with the right venues and promoters for headliners for us. So we've been kind of crossing our fingers to get a tour that would be going through there because we know we have some listeners there. We know, there's a history there. We just hadn't had it come to reality yet. So I'm really excited for that. Also, our bass player TJ had been living in Portland for a decade. He just moved back to Chicago, as part of this like whole you know change of pace that we're all going through with like the band picking back up a little bit, and he's back to being like closer to his family and all that. But during that whole window of time, we never got out there. So I mean, I know he's stoked to go to Portland because he's
yeah.
going to play for a lot of his friends that he made out there over the years. So I'll say that. But all that said, some of my absolute favorite cities to play are on that tour, and we're on a leg of it, right? So stoked for Southern California, really stoked for Denver in particular. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. I really like Copeland and Anberlin, and I feel like
Oh yeah.
it's a fun pairing for us.
Totally. And it is tough, like unless you're on like a huge band, and you just like it doesn't matter where you go. You got the money to go there, but like the East Coast, there's so many places like to just hit all the way down, all down and up. It's just never ending like short drives to it. But like the West Coast, getting up to Portland, Seattle and stuff, like it's significantly bigger drives.
Yeah,
So
bigger
it's
drive,
it's
and
a
if you're
harder
looking at
area to get to.
yeah, and if you're looking at flights for any particular members or anything, like there's time constraints on that too, because it takes a couple days to get up there. um,
Totally.
if you're driving and all that. So yeah, just really I don't know, really feeling blessed to get that offer, and Excited to have some new songs to play in addition to, the songs people know.
Heck yeah. And in another thing that was touched on, like Spitalfield initially, disbanded in 2007 and reunited a few times over the years, but officially came back, around 2023 with a hell of a year, starting, with the tour with Hawthorne Heights, Armor for Sleep, Riot Fest, and the Remember Right Now 20-year anniversary. What prompted like the initial hiatus and the eventual return to glory?
Yeah. Um, the original like breakup and hiatus like really came from like a business point of view. Like that's like we were in a tough spot as individuals. Like we'd been a band since we were like sophomores in high school, so we were,
Hmm.
approaching being a band for a decade.
Hmm.
And we'd done a lot of touring during those, like 2003, 4, 5, 6. We did a lot of touring.
Yeah,
And we were feeling stuck. And a lot of that was behind the scenes, like contract stuff that
sure.
was kind of stopping us from making some changes and making some moves for ourselves. And as individuals, we were feeling that burnout and that pressure because, you can love being in a band and love making music and even love, being on the road a lot. All those things can be true, and then you can still find it to be frustrating and in a way just like depressing.
Yeah,
When you're
totally.
when it's like all you care about and it's like your whole world and there's outside factors that you can't control or sometimes inside factors that you can't control, to be honest. I mean, like,
Yeah.
record labels, management, booking agents, there's a lot of things that go into play
Hmm.
aside from the music and being on stage, right?
Right.
So we were just in a spot where we were ready to wave the white flag, and it was a bummer because we didn't really want to. Like,
Sure.
I didn't want the band to end. I was sad when the band was ending. The farewell tour was bittersweet. It was really special because a lot of folks did come out of the woodwork to come to those shows. But like when we played our like final show with quotes around it in Chicago, December 23rd, 2007, I kind of broke down after that a little bit because I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
It had been such a part of who I was for so long. So, you know, um, a lot of great things did come out of us breaking up, though, because I started the next chapter of my life, like as a songwriter and learning more things from a business perspective of ways to like continue to make music. And also Bob Nana from Braid and Hey Mercedes and I like we put our heads together to come up with Downright, which is a custom songwriting platform that we co-founded.
Oh,
And
cool.
like it gave me purpose where it's like I want to help songwriters and artists make ends meet and make music and make money separately from just touring and albums because that's what I had just come out of, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, we were doing like occasional like everyone gets together for a couple rehearsals and we play a show.
Hmm.
Whether it was like celebrating an anniversary of some kind or a special festival or one-off. We had a one request that was a secret show in New York where someone proposed to their partner and they were recreating the night that they had met their partner, which was
That's
really
awesome.
cool. So we did a lot of fun stuff
Yeah.
during all that, but it always felt temporary. It always felt like, hey, we're gonna just run it back and do something fun, and we'd all have a great time, and then we just go back to everything else, and it was just like a blip. Um, Preparing to do what we did in 2023, as you described, kicking things off with that Hawthorne Heights Armor for Sleep tour. Um, it's that the nostalgia boom is upon us, and y'all know because you've been a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And there was a pretty steady stream of knocks at the door about wanting us to join these pretty cool tours and things like that. And we'd kind of pushed it off a little bit, being like, well, we're not really ready for that. And it sounds fun, but we can't do it. And then we kind of had a real talk about it. And we're like, if we can all get on the same page that we can't say yes to everything, but we want to say yes to as much as we can,
Yeah.
then let's go for it. So we actually started with this show was Saves the Day in Chicago at the end of 2022, where we then used that as a way to announce that we were going to be back for a bit. But even then, we didn't know if it was going to be more than 2023. Like, I'm trying to be as like much of a straight shooter as I can when I say like we did not know, like we didn't know what it was going to be like. We didn't know how we were
Sure.
going to feel, like playing all those shows and being together in a van and on a plane and on a train and being away from our houses and our families and our, you
and,
know,
and being
jobs.
older and doing all that.
Yeah, yeah. So it is a testament to those guys and, to all the folks who came out and supported those shows because we wanted to keep going. And to what I said earlier, when that tour was over, we started talking about doing it again for real.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and happy to still have you going at it.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
So, you kind of mentioned you guys would come back together to do like special anniversary shows or like little things like that. With your iconic album, Remember Right Now being 21 years old, what are some of your favorite memories from that album?
Um, I think my when I look back on it, my favorite things about that record would be that we were very honestly writing like quite literally a record about where we were at, which was like everything's about to change. And trying to take it all in because our guitar player Dan Lauder came up with the name Remember Right Now, and I feel like that really stuck like with me and with the band, like kind of being like coming of age moment for us and for a
Yeah.
lot of the the folks that were listening to that style of music. Like you're turning a page in your life where you're like, okay, like we have friends, we have family, but we don't have our own families yet. We have, you know, we have classes we take or don't take. We have a lot of shows to go see. We don't have money. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
figure it out. We make memories, right? And then
Right.
we don't know what we're getting ourselves into, and that's kind of what happened. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Like, it's so funny now being I'm a parent now. I've got two boys, and I think about how like when they're old enough to start bands or whatever, how I would feel as a parent for them to be like, hey, I want to like stop going to school and like quit my job and get into that 15 passenger van with these other guys. We're going to do the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, and we're going to pull a trailer and a bunch of gear and we're going to try to make a business. Does that sound good? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I
But I
do.
mean, we
Yeah.
did. I mean, that's how you learn, right? You just get out there, trial by fire. Hopefully not literally, but
Luckily for me, currently, I also have a son, and his big aspiration, he just wants to, build, he wants to be an engineer and build a house in the middle of the ocean so that he doesn't have to be around a lot of people because he doesn't
right.
love being around people. But he's just gonna build a compound in the ocean. No big
Good
deal.
idea. I love that. My toddler is trying to start a band with me, and it's everyone in my immediate family, and we have three bass players, which is wild.
Mm,
I don't think that's because he loves bass. I think he's just picking instruments and saying them and then saying them again. But
probably.
so far so good on the new band.
And
But
if you think about it and kind of go like a Les Claypool sort of route, you could probably make it poppin'.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, just got to find different sonic spaces for the bass to explore.
Right.
But yeah, Gibby, to like kind of further on what you were asking, like we revisiting the record was special too because I connect with the songs differently than I did then, but that's also in tandem with like all the feelings of nostalgia from when we were first playing those songs, right?
Yeah.
So the people that are coming out, like I've said this in some other interviews, like one of the best things about touring right now is that everybody at the shows want to be there. Like,
Mhm.
and that's not like a dig on shows from the past. It's just simply that when you were first out there touring and whatnot, there was a sense of competition, right? Because everyone's trying to make it, right? Everyone's trying to like build the fan base and break through and go to the next level and this, that, and the other. And while now, yeah, making new music and reconnecting, we'd love to see the ceiling get higher and higher. We're not in a space that we were in mentally back 20 years ago.
Right.
So if we're in a small club that's full of people, everyone there is there because they want to be there. Whether
Hmm.
they are getting to see us again and they're old fans, or they're folks that missed us the first time around that get to see us now.
Hmm.
So we got a lot of parents bringing their young kids for their first shows and stuff, and uh, it's so special. And when the show ends, half the folks there want to turn around and come talk to us about the music or certain songs or whatever, and that's amazing. Like I can't I can't really like put into words how special that is. So to be doing this like round of Remember Right Now again, it's like, yeah, like repeat because take this all in too, the same way we needed to back then. Like take this all in because the stuff is fleeting. We don't know. This boom could end. The show offers could end. People might not like the new music. People might have life things happen and we don't play together anymore. Like who knows? So just like really, really enjoying it.
Totally. And one of the things I saw that I thought was really cool, especially with currently at the right now with like Wicked being one of the most popular fucking movies, plays, and stuff in the world, along with Spitalfield, you've released your own like solo music, including creating an original stage production soundtrack for the play Say It Out Loud.
Mhm.
I just thought it was really cool. I listened to it a couple days ago. I was like, I never even like knew you did this. I thought it was super cool. Um, but with that, how would you say your songwriting differs from Spitalfield to like your solo work?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that it's, probably the most obvious is that I'm not collaborating with those specific fellows. And I feel like what makes Spitalfield what we are is everybody's contributions to the songs, right?
Hmm.
So even if I'm like a primary songwriter with a lot of like the lyrics and like, chord changes and rhythm stuff, it's when I collaborate with those folks that we sound like the band, right?
Hmm.
So when I started doing my own stuff, that did a few different things for me. One thing it did is it kind of opened things up a bunch, which is like, don't have anybody to do checks and balances with, not
Right.
really bouncing stuff off of a group of folks that, I'm comfortable with. I was mostly just like writing and collaborating with just like really cool, unique instrumentalists and players to like surround me and build like a band and like a cool sonic scape of like, different stuff. And when I first, wanted the band to go full time back in the day, I was at Columbia in Chicago for music composition, and I always wanted to write music for other things. Like I've always wanted to compose music, whether it's like film score stuff or writing for other artists or writing for, unique opportunities. And when everything slowed down and the band ended, I suddenly had time to dig into those things more,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I, created Downright was like find ways to do unique projects and connect with people and get other people's ideas and write with purpose. That's not just writing for yourself in your own releases, right?
Hmm.
So, I did a few solo EPs and over the course of time, a few different solo records, and I worked with different folks on those things and different players and different engineers. And, Sean O'Keefe kind of stayed consistent with my two full-length records and Sean had, worked with the band on Remember Right Now. Um, but yeah, like getting into like writing for that Say It Out Loud, like so cool. Like I loved getting that opportunity, and that was really special for me to like get to like watch that production happen and hear my music played on stage and in the background and
Yeah.
stuff like during somebody else's vision, someone else's dream, right? Um, and that actually originated as a downright project, which was sweet. So it was like it came to me first as like, can you write these songs to go with this short story and things that I've kind of created that are, I'm turning into a play, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then those production demos got turned into studio creations, and then the play got picked up, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So did you get a chance to I would assume you got a chance to go out and see the play then as well
I
and
got to see it virtually. Unfortunately, the specific when I say unfortunate, I'll put a little asterisk next to it, and I'll tell you why.
okay.
The week that the play was premiering, it was at the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
Um, was also the week after my second child was born.
Oh, yeah.
So when I talk about someone else's vision and dream, the fact that this play was coming to life and had all the rehearsals and the dress rehearsals and the music and all the things and the staging and the lighting and all the cool stuff happening, I was like dying to not get to just like get there and be a part of that. But I was also overwhelmed with the best thing in the world, which is being a dad, where I'm like, okay, we got a brand new baby and
Yeah.
so it was like I the decision was made like, all right, stay home for it, but find a way to still watch it. So they actually set up a stream for me and I could watch it multiple times. So, they were running it for like a week and I got to watch it a couple times and it was really cool. I mean, obviously not the same as being there, but it was the next best thing.
Well, that's awesome. It's awesome that they were able to like get that set up for you as well so that you could still, get a chance to see it and still be a part of it.
Yeah, and then I got to do on one of the nights, the like bigger night, one of the like weekend shows, I got to be beamed in on a screen where they did a Q&A with the writer, the director, and myself, and it was really special to do all that. So I look
Super
forward to the
cool.
next knock on the door for something like that.
You never know. Maybe it'll be for Wicked Part 2.
Is there not already a Wicked Part 2? I don't know enough about it, to be
I don't
honest.
know enough
I have
about
no
it
idea.
either.
I have no idea. It's like just the big thing right now, which is in it, there's a play and a play. That's the reason I
Well, hey, not
correlated
to
it.
plug downright too hard, but I can't stress enough that like part of what we do, right? The bread and butter of the platform is writing songs for fans for their big life moments, right? We're talking like,
Ooh,
oh, like a first dance at a wedding where it's like, yeah, grew up listening to the Get Up Kids and my partner and I were going to get Matt from the Get Up Kids to write a song for our wedding. Like, yeah, a lot of it like that.
cool.
Baby's first Christmas or memorializing someone that you lost or a tribute song or all that kind of stuff. The other side of it is this like more like commercial forward project stuff, which is like, independent filmmakers and podcasts and things like that where your podcast could tap into downright and pick a pop punk artist that you guys all love and say, hey, can you create something original that we play at the beginning and the end of our show, right?
Yeah.
And I think that stuff is super important. It's super cool. I mean,
Hmm.
uh I love seeing artists get those opportunities, and also a lot of artists don't know their own worth when it comes to where their fans are at, because some of their fans are making movies, some of their fans are athletes,
Yeah.
some of their fans are folks that run their own businesses. Some, you know what I mean? And like
Hmm.
those people need things, and there's a way to go direct to the artist and cut out all that other stuff, and I think that's important.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. I didn't. I'm glad you brought it up, and obviously, please plug it. Plug your
Yes.
stuff. That's why
Yeah, yeah.
we're here. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, Downright is ever changing and growing because we've been doing it for a decade, and of course, a lot has happened in the industry during that decade between like,
Absolutely.
streaming taking over and content creation being front and center for how to stay relevant on social media, and then also like, you know, when we first started Downright, doom scrolling wasn't a thing yet, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of competition out there for people's time and energy and effort. So it's nice
Hmm.
to have something that is focused on what artists do best, which is make songs.
Yeah, it's social media is wild. It's the wild west out there right now.
Hmm.
It's nuts.
Honestly, I was like, while you were talking about it, I was looking it up, and you have such like a stacked like list of artists on here.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun. You know, it's one of those things where a lot of occasions become the reason that an artist will promote. Like, for example, like heading into the holidays here or, Valentine's Day or whatever. And like that's good. Occasion is like gets people thinking about how they would use it, maybe as a gift giving tool. But
Hmm.
then we're also trying to, let folks realize too that there's also ways to stimulate artists to create music that might be to be released, like help them make demos for their next record or help them
Hmm.
get their music into an independent film or something. And like I want to believe that it's kind of a hybrid of a lot of different things out there. Like, you take a Kickstarter, which is about raising money, or you take a Patreon, which is about supporting an artist or whatever. But all of those things have all these other things going on. Whereas here it's just straight up creating music. So
Yeah,
um, we hope to kind of continue to grow it and have more people know about it and more artists involved. And it'd be great if it could be just like another tool on the tool belt for artists for how they're, paying their bills.
absolutely. Yeah. That
And for anyone listening, it's downright, but it's like right like you're writing. So WRITE.
That's correct. I should have said that. Thank you for saying it.
No,
he
I was like,
gotcha.
I don't know which one it is. So I just like typed in the first one. I was like, oh, perfect. Found it.
There it is.
Nice.
And then we have one more question before we go to a quick break. If you could give our listeners a piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting your journey, what would it be?
Um, I I think I think the advice I would give would be um, to make sure that you really love what it is that you are creating and what it is that you want to do. Make sure you love that because you're gonna have to like navigate so much like trying and difficult things to make that into your life, right?
Hmm.
Um, and it's tricky to find that balance when it comes to the business side of creating music and being a musician in a band, and then having that really be what you do full time.
Right.
So I think that like making sure you love it, that really helps because if you don't love it, you're not going to love doing all the stuff you got to do to make it happen, right? And the only
Hmm.
way to learn if you love it is to get out there and do it. So like advice piece number one is figure it out, get out there and do it. Advice piece number two is learn as much as you can about the business side of it without letting it dictate how you create art. um, and if learning those things feels like a chore and feels like something you don't want to do, find someone in your band that does, or make sure you have some good representation.
Hmm.
And easier said than done, trust me. Like there's a lot of a lot of music industry folks out there that might not be the right fit for you, or
Totally.
even interested in you until you get your own thing going. But if you can put yourself out there authentically because you love doing it and you're willing to learn about the business and you're willing to work with other people and collaborate on how to make business work for you and your band, then I think you'll be okay. Um, and if you're not willing to do those things, then just make music for yourself and don't try to make don't try to make it your full time because you'll be in a tough place.
Well, exactly. And especially like as we kind of had brought up with like social media and stuff like that. And it's like in the day and age we live in, a lot of people have a hard time with, because being in a band, you not only are an artist and musician, you got to create all that, but you also have to be a content creator.
Hmm.
Like it's part of it. So it's like either like being cool with doing that or having like members of the band that like doing that, but it's knowing that that is also part of the game if you want to try and do it full time because
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, and I think it's a challenge for pretty much any artist to be truly authentic in themselves all the time, you know? And now that we have this like direct line from fan to artist, like a lot of the like mystery surrounding like a band or the inner workings of the studio or things like that. Like a lot of that goes out the window now. And
Mhm.
for better or worse, like I don't want to be, a grump, or you could make that U and A and say a gramp, like an old like grandpa.
Right.
I'm not trying to be like, like a curmudgeon about it, but it is
Yeah.
kind of like sometimes it was really special to not know what like these things and then to go see a band and be like, wow, like, oh my gosh, there they are. That's what they look like. I didn't know. Or I'd only seen a band photo here and there, or like, oh my gosh. And now it's just like, hey, what's up? Welcome to my studio. This is what we're doing. Here's a demo.
Hmm.
Here's this. Here's that. Here's me singing this. Here's a cover song. Here's and it's
Yeah.
like, it is kind of a blitz where I'm like, if I was a young person first getting into music now, I'm sure I would think of it differently. But if I'm
Right.
me right now, which I am, hey, I'm me, I'm like overwhelmed by it and a little turned off to it.
Right, because now you also have to be a professional musician and a movie star. Basically, it's yeah, I didn't know 20 years ago when I started being trying to be a professional musician. I never thought one day I would also have to, you know, be a famous on screen personality.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
And I will say that like I find the, social media stuff to be, relatively fun if we kind of keep our voice in it and keep it like authentic. And there's so much
yeah.
hilarious and not just funny, but also like special and powerful stuff you can also do. So
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna like, be down on like the technology access because it is incredible. I mean,
Hmm.
wild. But everybody's got access to that stuff, so the playing field is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, same thing. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon, a grump, or a gramp, or nothing like that. Like, I mean, we are constantly creating content, and content creators now. And I think it's awesome. It's just made it so much more difficult because everybody also has access. Everybody has like pretty much a portable studio on their phone, or or just like little things in their bedroom. And
Oh yeah.
so it's definitely a completely different world.
Yeah. And a part of me's happy that like a lot of folks can get access to some really cool creative tools because maybe when they didn't have the access is why they weren't being creative. So
Right.
I
Hmm.
think it's good. Like it's good that there's a lot of new shows and movies and music and all that stuff. I'm into that. But it also is like a flood. So
Yeah.
like what can you do to stand out? And also like what can you do um, to reach the people you're trying to reach in the middle of this flood, right? Because,
Right.
if every, because it's like a small but mighty following, right? It's like if every person that followed that was a fan was able to get all the stuff that we shared and posted, we'd be doing all right. But it
Yeah.
really is that, like, okay, that reached 5% of the people who follow you. So now what?
Right. Yeah, 100%. It's just all about, I say this a lot, but you know, Triple H says it best, it's time to play the game. You just got to play the game. And push hard. That's all you can do. Just do your
Trying
best
to. And then back to my first point, as long as we love it, that's why I'm hoping that with all this
and
new
love it.
music, that we just truly love it. We're not just doing it to do it, right? Not going through the motions here.
Yeah, you have to try and be a professional musician or artist in any capacity. You have to love it. Otherwise, it's not worth trying to do. There's so much that has you have to go through in order to do this for a living. You have to love it.
That's right.
All right. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with our next segment. Today's episode is sponsored by Chattanooga Beard Company. Are you looking for a quality company to help sexify your beard? Turn it up to 11? Take it to a whole new level? I have tried lots of other products over the many years it's taken to grow these luscious face locks. And then I tried Chattanooga Beard Company, and I kid you not, it changed my beard's life. Their products are made from quality ingredients like sweet almond oil, jojoba oil, coconut oil, beeswax, lanolin, and shea butter. I have at home their shampoo and their conditioner, two different scented beard balms, 1838, which is wood, amber, and grapefruit, and churchwarden, which is pipe tobacco and wild cherries, and freedom. I also have two of their beard oils, Clean Slate, which is bergamot and lime, and Iron Forged, which smells like coffee and chocolate, and you just want to eat it. My wife loves the smell of their Clean Slate oil. It's been a game changer. You don't have to take my word for it, because who am I other than the lovely looking man with this lovely looking beard? Try it for yourself. Just go to www.chattanoogabeard.co and snag any of these products or one of their other many scents and styles. And as a bonus, if you use our code Unsigned Pop Punk at checkout, you're going to get 15% off your order. So if you love your beard, or you love someone with a beard, try out Chattanooga Beard Company. You won't be mad you did. And we're back. Thanks so much for sticking around through those sponsors. It's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. This is the hard-hitting journalism that everybody wants to know about. This is the food for thought segment. All right. And so now I feel like Chicago is probably, we have more guests, it seems, from Chicago than probably anywhere else. There's just so many awesome people coming out of Chicago. And so we always have to start with this question for Chicago, okay? It's just what we do now. So this is this guest staple. Ketchup on a hot dog. Yes or no, Mark?
I don't even want to answer this. Like, no, no,
No.
no,
I just
thank you.
saw the immediate head shake on that. It was like, oh no.
I mean, it's two things here, right? Number one, maybe like when you are a child, like okay, like sure.
This is gonna
But
hit Gibby hard.
yeah, but like when you become a young adult or an adult, like do not don't no, no thank you. And also like mustard is awesome. So mustard is the compliment we're looking for with these toppings. I mean, it's when I say nothing against ketchup, I mean that as in like I don't care if you like ketchup, just keep it off your hot dog.
I love I love it so much. And I love how you probably had the most one of the second most intense like no's that we've had. We had number one is action or action adventure, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was it just he
Flip
was
the
ready to fight about it.
flip the
Ready to
laptop.
fight about it.
Hmm.
But I love this because especially when you're like, yeah, if you have the palate of a child, basically, because that is Gibby. Gibby has the
That
palate
is
of a
me.
child, and so every time we ask this question, and somebody is just like, what are you kind of piece of shit? You gonna put ketchup on your hot? Fuck you, guy. And Gibby's just like,
Yeah.
ugh, I love ketchup on my hot dog.
Each to their own.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I don't really like hot dogs. I rarely ever eat hot dogs.
See, I mean, then go on with your bad self, you know? If you don't like hot dogs anyway, then sure, do whatever you want to them.
Right. So is it just is like mustard or how do you hot dog?
Um, well, I think my favorite is a true Chicago style dog. So you're gonna have, of course,
Mhm.
mustard, right? You're gonna
Right.
have onions and like diced raw onions, and relish and tomatoes and celery salt and sport peppers. Okay. Now, the thing is that I don't love tomatoes in general as a topping on things. I don't hate tomatoes, but as you know how I feel about ketchup, right? But I think a true Chicago dog still needs the tomato, so I will keep it on more often than not.
Okay.
But the celery salt really is the finishing touch. And then the
Oh,
peppers, I love sport peppers. I like spicy stuff. I
yeah,
understand if somebody says they don't want that, if they don't like that sensation of like, burning,
sure.
then okay, maybe get rid of that. But everything else is pretty crucial.
I we don't really have like in Duluth, Chicago dog's not a we unfortunately don't have that here, and I wish we did because everything about that dog is amazing except for I just don't like tomatoes. I can fuck with some ketchup. I do enjoy it on a hot dog as well because I like the little sweetness to it, but I would prefer like mustard, relish, onions, like I like my stuff to have stuff. Like I'm a big fan of like burgers and things that have a lot of stuff on it. I just like
Well,
stuff on my stuff.
and I think I'll tell you what, if it's the sweetness of the ketchup that you're attracted to with that mix, at that point I'm gonna go barbecue because I'm gonna do like a different type of dog that's meant
Sure.
to be that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's also a very good idea. That I don't think that is a path I have chosen yet. So I may have to try it.
I might
Yeah,
have
or
to
a
try
chili
that
cheese
too.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and Gibby, I mean, you're in Texas. Like you haven't barbecued on your hot dog? Like that's
I mean, I've had like hot dogs like on a barbecue grill, but
oh.
never like put like barbecue sauce on it or anything like that.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
It does sound good actually.
You weren't kidding about now being hungry. Thanks a lot.
I did oh my gosh, it can get so much worse. It's
And
the
it
it's
will.
just
You
it's just what
you
happens.
know, like we're like you're on a time frame, so we're respecting that. But like we usually have like lately we've been doing a thing where like I just pull up like a website that has 20 iconic foods and we'll just go through like a little chunk of it.
I mean,
And
it does sound like a good use of time. I will give you that.
it's a fun time. It's a good time.
So you've been like with over like 20 years of experience of being in a band and on the road, what would you say is your go-to on the road like snack or food and drink that you just that just it just helps you on those long drives?
Sure. I think when you are between two cities, your dream is a Taco Bell, and it's a combination of the price and the menu options because pretty much everybody in your vehicle can have something from Taco Bell, whether they're vegan
100. Yeah.
or vegetarian or carnivore or whatever. Like Taco Bell's got them. And the
Hmm.
price is pretty good and they're pretty fast and it's pretty consistent. Like, like anything else, you can have a bad one here or there, but like you kind of know what you're getting.
Oh yeah.
We don't really want to talk about the ingredients per se, but it's something that you can count on. So I'd say that that is a savior more often than not. Um, and then as far as like, go-to things, it's like coffee stops are king. Like gotta keep the coffee going, especially when you're either driving or with the driver to like, hang with them. Because I think
Hmm.
half the battle is the person who has to drive, and the other half is like being up there with them to like
Yep.
engage them
Yep.
for both safety
You got to have
purposes
the
and
shotgun.
also camaraderie.
Hmm.
So coffee's crucial. Coffee's king. And then, at the venues themselves, I'm in a very good spot right now, which is that because I have two members of my band that are vegan, they go out of their way to find good local spots that can cater to them, and they use like an app of some kind to get that food to the venue. And they always ask me, "Do you want in on this order?" And that's great because I don't like eating heavy before I play. I
Right.
like vegan and vegetarian food. I'm not either of those things, but I kind of lean that way for 2 out of 3 meals for most of my touring. So
Sure.
that's good. That's a blessing. Try not to eat super heavy stuff before we play. That's really not a good feeling. And you're not your best. You're not your best.
Yeah,
Uh,
you don't want those food sweats. It just
right.
makes you feel heavy. Pretty
Yeah.
gross.
Also, when you know your favorite kind of stuff, I like to think that like I get my favorite kind of stuff when I'm looking to treat myself, not every day, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I love Thai food, right? Thai food is like, oh man, give me a Thai food lunch special and I'm over the moon. But when do we have time to do that when we're between two cities unless it's the day off, right?
Right.
Also, when you are doing that like local, then there are factors you can't control, which is like you haven't tried it before or, how does it sit with you and all these things. So try to keep it as consistent as possible. And like I said, having those guys kind of research our dinner options most nights is great for me. Um, and then, the late night thing post show, all bets are off on what happens there. It
It's
really depends
whatever's
if
open
you're
at that point.
yeah, it depends on if you're driving a couple hours or if you're staying where you just played. And, I think that changes everybody's plan for the night. Like, are they going to go out with some friends from that city or not? Yay or nay? Are the other bands sticking around? Are you hanging out with them? Yay or nay?
Hmm.
And at this age, like, we do require rest. So want to make sure
Yep.
that we get some sleep too, even if it means like driving 2 hours, sleeping for 6 hours and getting up to do the rest. It's like we're very mindful of these things now. We didn't
Right.
used
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a whole different game now. Like
Yeah, and if
with
a city is known for something in particular, we all know like the hot spots where it's like, oh, when you're here, you got to do this. I've done all that, right?
Mhm.
Because I've been all these places. So
Yeah.
I know whether or not I think the juice is worth the squeeze to make sure I find time to do it, right? Like if I'm in Buffalo and it's like, man, you got to go get wings. I'm like, yes, I do. If I can go to one of these couple places and it doesn't inconvenience me. Otherwise, not this time. I
I'm
will be
also
back.
cool if I don't. It's okay.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Just like when bands pass through Chicago, they're gotta get some stuffed pizza, deep dish, or whatever. I'm like, well, if you're gonna do that before you play, good luck to you.
Yeah. That sounds like a horrible decision.
It can be.
Yeah. Um, since you brought it up though, I gotta ask, is Taco Bell, right? Is
Mhm.
this show's probably favorite for fast food. Taco Bell is such a band staple.
It really is.
Uh what's your Taco Bell order? What's your jam?
Right now, it is a cheesy bean and rice burrito where I add black beans into it. That's a lot
Okay.
of beans, but the value is tremendous. And that
Yeah.
add-on isn't so bad. And then it becomes more substantial, which then allows me to try to do just two items instead of the traditional three. I feel like I've always historically been like, I got to get three things, but now I'm trying to get two. But if I take that one and I, enhance it.
Add
So
yeah, add
cheesy
a
bean
little
and
bit.
rice, add black beans. Then for item number two, it's either, and it really depends on how hungry I am. My favorite current menu item is a cheesy gordita crunch. Okay, I think that is probably the
Oh,
best
so
single
good.
Taco Bell item. Um, but that's a decision time, right? Do I want the cheesy gordita crunch, or do I want to keep it a little bit lighter with like a soft potato taco, or just something to
Mm,
complement my first one and not overdo it? Now, all that to say, my favorite item of all time is the chili cheese burrito that they discontinued and then they brought it back and
they
now
just
they
brought it
still don't
back, I
have
think.
it, and
Yeah.
you can ask about it maybe, I don't know. As a kid I loved Mexican pizzas. I don't get them on tour, but like I loved them, like such good memories thinking about the little box and popping it open. uh but nah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Nice. I also am a cheesy bean and rice guy. Um, but I found out that you can add nacho fries to it,
Oh wow,
and that's a game changer.
holy cow, wow, that changes the chemistry.
Yeah, oh, it's a whole new thing now. It's delicious, I think, but I mean, for an extra like what, it's like 50 cents or something. It's like I wanted nacho fries anyway.
Hmm. And the sauce is the other thing. It's like I like I like the heat, so give me fire. Give me
Yeah,
that which I desire.
nice. Yes. It's I like some fire sauce as well. All right, and since we were talking about the potatoes and such like and then nacho fries, which is also a potato. This kind of goes with our last question. If Spitalfield was a potato, what kind of potato would you be?
Hmm. I feel like each member of the band will be a different potato, to be honest, which is maybe maybe what makes it special.
Yeah,
I I would be I would be a sweet potato
I can see
because
it.
I love sweet potatoes first and foremost, and I could just end right there.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna say I'd be a sweet potato, and I would add a little butter, and then maybe a little cinnamon. Getting crazy, I know. Ideally, it would
You're
be like
turning
a
into a
baked
little
sweet
sweetie
potato.
pie almost.
Yeah, I mean, ideally a baked sweet potato that I split and open and then eat with a fork and knife with all those things. That'd be ideal. So kind of like baked potato style, but
Okay,
baked sweet potato. That would be me. However, I think this is a sensitive topic because everybody has their favorite way to prepare potatoes. And,
it's true.
I think the traditional potato wedge is my least favorite presentation of a potato. Um, I like hash browns when they're slightly like charred a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
get good
French,
crisp on them.
yeah, I think French fries are good. I mean, who doesn't like French fries? But we all know there's good fries and crappy fries, right? And maybe
Hmm.
crappy fries are still okay, but I'm gonna let the other guys figure out what potato they would be. But I'm a sweet potato.
I like it. I
I like
support
it.
it. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What? All right then. That is it for the food for thought segment. Since we nixed we nixed the Reddit stuff, and we'll get back. We'll do that another time. We'll
Great.
have you back. We'll just do a whole Reddit episode. It'll just be a whole food
We bring
Reddit
on our guitar
episode.
player Dan. He's obsessed with Reddit.
It'll just be all food stuff. It'll just be a time. All right, but that is it for that. Now it's time for our rapid fire question segment.
Friendships will be tested. Rapid fire questions.
You're just gonna speak from the heart. You're gonna shoot from the hip.
Yep.
Whatever is the first thing that pops into your head, even if it's not one of the two options I give you,
Okay.
you'd roll with it.
Okay.
All right. Monster Energy or Rockstar?
Monster. Blue.
Okay. Blue. Okay.
Low carb. Yeah.
Pop punk or emo?
Emo.
Taylor Swift or John Mayer?
John Mayer.
Skinny jeans or baggy pants?
Give me the comfort at this point. Give me those baggy pants. Let's go. Like pirate big, like big.
It's like Jinkos. Should we roll in
No, no,
Jinkos?
I'm not going clown posse big. I'm pirate.
uh, Disney Plus or Netflix?
Netflix,
Stuffed crust pizza or deep dish pizza?
deep dish,
Okay. Vans or Chuck Taylors?
Chuck Taylors,
Last question. The All American Rejects or the Offspring?
All American Rejects.
Nice. Nice. That goes against our age tally, actually. Normally would be we would I would have assumed Mark Rose would be an Offspring kind of guy.
Well, you're not wrong. I am an Offspring kind of guy. I think Offspring, specifically when Smash came out, game changer for me.
Totally.
My issue here is that I haven't enjoyed any creative output from them in so long. And I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not really giving it a fair chance, to be honest. But
Yeah.
there was a period of time where I thought the Offspring started to sound like Weird Al.
Oh,
And
it's
like,
we've
I,
also discussed this.
well, I love Weird Al. I mean, Weird
Yeah.
Al is one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Though I did not love when the Offspring started to sound that way. And then since then, I haven't really gone back to re-embrace how good it was earlier on. And I'm not saying it's bad because
Right.
to each their own and like
And Weird
cool
Al is
band,
fantastic as
important
well.
band, cool band. Like, yeah, Smash is so good. Like if it was going to be a my favorite Rejects record versus my favorite Offspring record, your tally would then be back to what you thought it would be because it would be the Offspring.
Right.
But as a band as a whole, I'm gonna take the Rejects.
The new Offspring record is I think it's very good if you can if you're okay with this like that he does still sound a little Weird Al. It if you can get past that and recognize that you know that, then it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good
Okay,
album.
well, listen, if you like it, I will check it out. Like I've got room in my heart, for new Offspring to be good. I do.
And especially if you are also already know that Weird Al is also just a pure gem, then
Yes.
then it's okay.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a tricky question because yeah, I mean, one of those two bands, one truly influenced me as a youth, and one I just really really liked.
Right.
Uh, so it's tricky.
I do love that you brought up the Weird Al thing because we have discussed that we have talked about that. That is somebody else brought it up and now like it's a thing I hear.
I can't unhear it. That's part
I
of the
never
problem.
noticed it till someone brought it up to me, and I can't unhear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the older stuff, I don't hear it as much. I mean, there's a tonality to it that is similar, but it didn't feel like it was like, oh gosh, this sounds like blank. It didn't. It got there
Right.
though.
I feel like on the new album, it's like one song in particular is just like, sheesh. And then the rest, they kind of went back to some more classic, Offspring sound, which, I like. I like they
Okay.
did that.
Love that.
Yeah. But that's it. You did it. You finished the podcast. Now's your chance. You already kind of let everybody know a lot, but now's your chance once again. Let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you, and what's next.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the conversation and the questions. You can follow along with the band, Spitalfield 98 on most social platforms, and spitalfield.org if you want to check out some merchandise or get linked to the right places to reach out and be in touch with us. I'm Mr. Mark D. Rose on most of my socials. Downright, as Gibby pointed out, right spelled Write. Downright be a great spot for you to check out if you're interested in commissioning an artist you love for something special, or if you are an artist and you're interested in being a part of that platform, you can reach out to us there. And yeah, new music. We got a new EP coming in March. and there should be a new single out right now, and I hope you dig it. And yeah, I really appreciate the time we've spent here. Thank you for having me and inviting me to be a part of your world.
Oh, it's completely all our pleasure. It's been an awesome time. I'm stoked that you wanted to hang out with us.
Pleasure's all mine.
Nah. But that's it, gang. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. It's been another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? We'll see you all on Monday.
Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you to those who already are. Please rate and review the show to help the show be found by new people. And if you're in the position to help us grow, head on over to our website where you can find merch, our Patreon, and other ways that you can help at www.unsignedpoppunk.com. Let us know in the comments who else you'd like to see on the show and what other content you would like to see. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.